How did you get hurt?
I was at work doing a longshoreman job for a diving company, October 8th, 2005. The weather was not so great. It started to fall apart as it normally does around 4:30 in the afternoon on October 8th, 2005. And I was working within, I would say, 6 inches of the bottom of a bridge, doing bridge column reinforcement. So we had to get in and out of the water. We had to build a platform. We had to put a form in place and then tie it together, suck the water out, and dump concrete in there. And it would reinforce the bridge column. It has to be done every so many years to waterborne bridges, water-laden bridges. So around 4:30 in the afternoon, there was a pretty violent storm that came in. They didn't take the boat in. We had a boat instead of a barge. We didn't have helmets. And the bottom of the bridge was the first or second set of columns from the land, so the bridge had not gone up very far. And I hit my head, literally, on the bottom of the bridge. Reports say that I actually hit my head several times. But I continued to work, and I know in my settlement it says I went home, took aspirin, and went to sleep, and then later was taken to the hospital. That's not true. I went home. I continued to work, but I went home later that night, about 10:30, and I went into the shower. There was a lady friend I hadn't seen in 3 or 4 months. We were just going to go out, get something to eat, and when I got into the shower, I started to experience a sudden severe headache. Now, this is where a lot of people make mistakes. They go lay down or take aspirin. If you have a sudden severe headache, you need to call an ambulance and get to a hospital immediately. And from being an athlete, I knew that there was just something wrong. I mean, I knew I hit my head. So I did call an ambulance, and we went to Cape Canaveral Hospital. And I only remember the whiteness of the ambulance. So from the time I got home into the shower and then subsequently getting into an ambulance was maybe an hour. And already I had fallen apart to the point where I don't remember anything from somewhere around 11:30 on the night of October 8th, 2005, well into November. I came out of my coma 16 days after I went into my coma, but I don't remember much.
Let's talk about the specific event where you hit your head. There's a lot of controversy in mild brain injury literature, cases, case studies, as to whether or not you can have a profound injury to your brain without a change in mental status. So you're on a boat, it's bouncing underneath a bridge, it bounces, you hit your head on a piece of concrete. From 5 seconds before, let's say, that happens, to a minute later, describe the events for me.
I'm not 100% sure. I know I hit my head that day. The reports say I hit my head that day, and it was around 4, I say 4:30, whatever. I don't remember anything specific about that day, except I know I crawled up onto the form. There was metal strapping around the form that we had to dump the concrete in, and I was literally straddling it with my feet. I do remember that. I do remember it being dark. So there could be a period of 3 hours that I may have zonked out. Don't remember.
Okay. So let's say, do you remember half an hour before you hit your head?
No.
So the story that you told us about being in the boat, going underneath the bridges, these are things you've learned from other people who were with you?
No, I remember being under the bridges, and I also remember the storm coming in. As I told my attorneys before I even read a report from the company, I thought it was 4:30 in the afternoon. So I remember the storm coming in, and I remember it being very violent. To this day, I can see the lightning underneath the 405 bridge going into Cape Canaveral Air Station. I can still see the storm in my head, and it was violent, and we were being thrown around on that 27 or 30-foot boat. I remember that, and then I remember a little bit later on being on literally straddling the form on maybe 2 inches of steel, and then grabbing for buckets and pouring them in to the form, to the point where I think we finished that particular pouring, and it was at least 10 o'clock at night. I do remember all of that. I remember being dropped off at a restaurant outside of a gated community. I remember Diane picking me up, but as far as before the injury, it was, I don't know, just construction as usual, and I do remember the storm.